Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged. Sorry about that. Hit the mic when I pulled it up here. Episode 628 of Coach Unplugged. Today, we're going to start a 3-part series about practice planning. This will be, there's so many good golden nuggets on it. So make sure when you're running and jogging, you take your notebook or your audio memo and take some good notes on this. But before we jump into that, I'd like to give a big shout out to our 2 sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market, not only for skill development, not only for shots taken. They have some of the top trainers that will do a workout with you, visually do it with you. So mention Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $350 off your next purchase. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I can't imagine a better time to work on your craft. I think at Teach Hoops, we run a very unique platform where not only do we do office hours and one-on-one calls, not only do you get my personal email address where I'm here to help. I think I had a coach a couple of days ago just asked for some dribble drive stuff. Poof, sent it off to him. We're working on that specific course. But anyway, so go over and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, and it helps us keep the lights on here at Coach Unplugged. All right, that's one way you can give back. We would also love a review if you want to do that. That would be great. All right, let's head off to the podcast. All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. Coach, we'll try not. I was talking to a coach from Ireland. You'll have to listen to it, okay. And he broke the record. So we will not go 2+ hours tonight. Okay. That's how long him and I went. But I'm going to have you introduce yourself. What I have people do is kind of introduce themselves. So Sean will do that. He'll introduce himself. And then I want you to give like a bio, kind of your synopsis of your coaching career. And then we'll jump into some of the practice planning and some of that other stuff. So let the audience know where you are. I picked up on the Boston accent when we were doing the pre-interview here. But you explain where you came from, kind of where you are now and all that for the audience.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Steve. I just love, talking basketball. And, my name's Sean Doherty, and I was born and raised in Worcester, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. And I kind of grew up there till I was like 31 years old. And I was lucky enough to play Division III basketball at Worcester State College, Division III school in the MASCAC conference. And I was a point guard there. And then I went on and started my coaching career actually there with the head coach, Tom Moore, who's now at UConn. And then I left Worcester State and ended up going to Assumption College, Division II school in Worcester, Massachusetts. And it was great. I was at Assumption College in the NE10, which is one of the best conferences in the country for Division II. And I was there for 4 years and had, got my master's degree in education from there. And then I applied for a job at Holy Cross College. A guy named Ralph Willey got the job at Holy Cross. And Ralph used to be with Rick Pitino, and he was up, Jim Boeheim, and he coached Pittsburgh. So I applied and I got the job. And I was like the third assistant at Holy Cross. And every year I was there, one of the other assistants left, and I kind of became Ralph's associate head coach after 3 years. And it was great. We won three championships there at Holy Cross, and played Kansas, Kentucky, and Marquette in the NCAA tournaments. So it was a great experience. And then I went down to Western Kentucky, and I went with Darren Horn, who was coach of South Carolina for a little while.
Yep.
He was assistant Marquette. He got the job, Darren. So I was with Darren for a while there, and then I decided to take a head job, a head Division III job. So I was with Darren for about less than a year, and a Division III job opened up in the MASCAC at Salem State College, where I played as a player. I played in that Worcester State Conference. So I decided to come back home, come back to Boston. Salem, Mass is right outside of Boston. The Salem Witches there, that's the big thing. And I came back, and I was a head Division III coach, and I was a Division III coach for 4 years. And I loved being I was my own boss, and it was the first time I ever became the head coach. And we won 4 championships there, and I had a great, success there. That's for sure. Over 100 wins. And it was just fun. And then my old college coach ended up getting a job at Quinnipiac University. And he called me up, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to come."
So where's that one? I followed everything up to this point.
Yeah, Quinnipiac is a Division I school in the MASCAC, in the MAC, and it's in Hamden, Connecticut, right beside Yale University, about 10 miles away from Yale.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, when I was recruiting for them, that was the same exact. When I go out to Wisconsin or I go out to anywhere, they'd be like, "Quinna what? Quinna who?"
Almost sounds like, to be honest with you, almost sounds like a Canadian, like Winnipeg or Win. It's like almost sounds like Canadian. Yeah. Okay.
They're really well known for hockey right now. They've gone to the Final Four, Division I in hockey, and in basketball. When we were there, we started off in the NEC, which is like Sacred Heart, Central Connecticut, Robert Morris, LIU. Yep. That was the league, and then we ended up going into the MAC conference, which has Siena, Iona, Manhattan, which is a much bigger conference.
Right.
So, it was a little bit tougher. And then what happened was the new AD came in after 10 years, got rid of us. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a decision making. It was the first time in my life I've ever been let go.
Right.
And, now I'm like, in my 40s, and I'm like, mid 40s.
Oh, crap.
Like,
it's like,
what do you do?
Right.
And, the old assistant who was with me at the time is this head coach at Indiana, Archie Miller. Another guy was an assistant with me, was at Iowa State, William Small, when he was at Western.
Okay. He's dropping some names here. Like, holy
no, but
crap,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm
thinking. That's serious though. They're legit. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was I was in the same office as Archie. Me and Archie shared an office together, and William was right down the hall with me. We were on the same staff.
Right.
So I was like, do I move my whole family across the country to one of those schools and try and jump on with one of them, or do I? My son's high school, my son was a freshman in high school, and the job opened up there at Hamden Hall. It's a small prep school right here in Hamden, where I was coaching for the last 10 years. I was Division I coach at Hamden, Quinnipiac. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I coach my son for the next couple of years? So instead of jumping back into Division I across the country and moving my family again, I decided, let's coach my son. And I've had a great experience. And this is going into my 4th year now. Yeah, I've been with him since freshman year. So I've had 3 years now with him at Hamden Hall. It's a small prep school in the NEPSAC.
And who does that prep school play?
We play like Marionopolis, St. Luke's, St. Thomas More. Middlebury. Like there's a bunch of like small.
And do you do PG or you do?
We don't. It's only high school, but we do reclassification kids. So a lot of kids come to me and want to do their junior year over and leaving a regular public school. They come and they say, "Hey, I'd like to go there and do a reclass year."
Okay.
And so there's some good and some bad with that. Some people suggest them to go and stay until you graduate, then go to year prep school. Other kids want to reclass when they're freshmen or sophomore.
Well, my son's trying to figure out if he needs a gap year too.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like,
it really is different for every kid, I think.
It is. I think it really is. So a couple things. Okay. So first of all, what was it like to play Division III and coach Division III? So that's the first question I have for you.
Well, I'll tell you, playing Division III, I was a point guard. It's funny because when I was in high school, basketball was everything to me. And it was like, and I was like practicing all summer long from 8 in the morning until the lights went out at the park at 11 o'clock at night. And then when I got to college, I thought I could kind of drift and just, I got into the whole, like, I'm a college basketball player,
Yeah.
started meeting girls,
Right.
going out. And
Yeah.
so I didn't focus as much as I wish I did on my college preparation. Now that I've been a coach for all these, I realized what I did wrong when I was a player. So I was kind of like a backup, point guard for all those years. And it was fun playing, and we had some great experiences, and I love my teammates. But I don't think I ever got the best of what I could have been.
And I played D3 too. There's a love for the game you get at D3.
Oh yeah.
There's no glory.
No.
I played in my high school gym filled more than it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So, because I went to a big high school, it's like we'd have put 2,000-3,000 in, and then I'd go to college. It'd be like we get 400.
Oh, without a doubt. I was the same thing. I was just,
you play. There's a difference. There's a love of the game. So Holy Cross Patriot League, great league. It's like a mini Ivy. Like you have obviously the NASDAQ where my son's going, but then you got that one, which is a really good league. I think it's the Patriot League's under.
We were, we came into that league when I got there. They did a book. John Feinstein did a book, and
I've read that book. It's a great book. Yeah.
And it's funny if you ever go into the acknowledgments at the very end. I'm in there and it says, acknowledgement says, and Sean Doherty in. Yes, you too, Sean. You know what I mean? Because he was always making fun of me. Like I would, hey, you gotta put me in the book. You gotta put me in the book.
Yeah, it's funny. It's I mean, his son was looking at it for just school. Wasn't I go there, I won't eat. It's like a Colgate and some of those schools. Unbelievable. You got to be a student. Like you don't go to those schools unless you're a student.
I can tell you some stories about some of the recruits we brought in for the academics and bringing them down to the admissions department. It was hysterical. I'll give you a good one. We brought this one kid from New York in, and I was like, all right, listen, we're going down to the admissions interview right now. Like, you got to be on point here. The admissions lady's no joke. She's going to ask you questions. Like, make sure you understand. I told him all this stuff. And she said, this is the true story. Kid came out. I said, how'd it go? He goes, all right, I thought you go. So I asked him, Michigan, I go, what do you think? She goes, well, Sean, I'm not too good. He goes, I asked him what the last book he read, and he said, I don't read books. I was
my God. Oh, my God.
I'm like, Holy Cross. I'm like, well, we can take him off the old recruiting list.
I'll tell you Holy Cross because that was on my son's list. I can tell you they wanted, for the financial aid stuff I needed to fill out, they wanted literally to know what my great ancestors made and where's that third nickel that you said you had.
They
swear to God, it was more in my son. I think it was like by the time it was done, like 18 schools. There were little Ivies, the Patriot League. It wasn't. They're in a different class for what they asked for. It was like, are you kidding? What do you want? Like, you want my firstborn child? Like, they were asking for more things than any human being should ever want. I could see how people would give up. Like, I'm not doing this. You're not going.
It was hard to get in. We had to be real specific with the type of recruit we went after. We used to pre-qualified kids. Ralph was a stickler on making sure that we went to Jesuit schools and we pre-qualified kids and made sure they had the SATs and the transcript prior to coming in. And there was a lot of background checking.
The only thing I've thought about is like coaching in the NASDAQ, coaching in the Patriot, coaching the Ivy, is you basically, here's your pool. Like, you can see a kid in Indiana on a July day and you go, I can't even look at that kid. Like, your pool is this 10%, maybe 5%, 5 that I can even look at these kids. Like, so I think that in some respects, you're probably all fighting for the same kids.
That's exactly what it was. We were fighting against the Dartmouth and all the time and against the Patriot League and, other schools and the NEPSAC schools. So it was tough.
Right. And what the problem is, the NASDAQs are trying to grab one of yours that you can give a scholarship. They're trying to grab them because they can't give a scholarship. It's like this whole
trying to grab the one above it, the Ivy,
Yeah, and you guys are trying to get the Ivy, and then the Ivies are trying to grab a Duke kid or or like a Stanford. It's like, I know. But it's interesting, I think, in the sense that if you're at Michigan or Michigan State, you basically have the pool of the world. Like,
without a doubt.
Yeah. It
was also great because you got to get to coach kids who really got it. You know what I mean? And I loved that was my 4 years of kind of like really becoming a coach because, first of all, Ralph Willie was phenomenal.
Right.
He was a stickler for the little things, and he was maniacal on, he was a Rick Pitino disciple. You know what I mean? Like, and he kind of like almost taught Rick some of his stuff. So like he was we had early morning, all the things you can imagine. We had early morning individuals at, 6 a.m. and, you had to be there for 5:30 dressed and ready. And, we went through a hard workout and then, late night study hall, just you name it. We did it, film and break down effort stats. The effort stats were phenomenal, like breaking down a kid's tape and showing it to them. It's
the
stuff
thing
I
is,
learned.
The one thing the Patriot doesn't have that the Ivy, and I've talked to Dave about this, the Ivy is like, the kid we were talking about, Chris, he was going to do a Saks Fifth Avenue. I don't know what's happening now. This summer, he was doing an internship. There was nothing going on this summer. They shut them down.
That hurt.
There's no individual it.
No.
So the Patriot League probably isn't quite like that.
Yeah. No, I think the connection is a little bit bigger. When you're an Ivy League kid, you're a little bit different. But I'll tell you, those Patriot League schools, like the Holy Cross guys, they stick together. If you're a Holy Cross alum, there's alums out there that'll give you jobs, and they want to hire Holy Cross guys.
I told my son, I said, the school, you could have gone to a lot of schools, but he's going to Middlebury. I said, the problem, you're once you get through there, you're a Middlebury kid.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden now, other Middlebury people will know you.
Exactly. And that's where you're going to get your job down the road. It'll be someone that'll hire him because of that.
Yeah. It's the advice I give all my senior athletes is I said, when you go to college, every day meet a new person, connect with somebody, because you never know which one is going to open that door up. And you some of your best friends will be that one person in that one class that you just connected with. You never know. All right, so let's jump into practice stuff, Coach. I'd love to talk about that. So let's have you share the screen here and we'll jump into practice. Let's do that. Let's do the first one that you were talking about, that PowerPoint. Let's just go through real quick, kind of your summary of practice, then maybe we can talk about practice. Yep.
All right, let me you want the summary of the summary?
Yeah, let's do that one first. All right.
I showed this a couple times out to, some people, and I think it's important. You just got to have a plan of when you're running your practice planning.
Yep.
I think there's important things to have. And I think you got first of all, you got to be really organized. I think you got to meet with your staff and go over, your plans each day. And if you don't have a staff, just make sure you have a plan.
And how much time do you spend on a practice plan?
I probably, I've been doing this for 25 years now. So I probably spend a half an hour. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I probably spent a little bit. When I was first doing my first job at Salem State there, I probably did an hour and a half. But, I send it to my coaches after because they're all teachers. So I send it to them and they look it over, give me
Hey, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the podcast as much as I am. Please, if you want to help us out, you can do a couple things. You could go over and subscribe and leave a 5-star review. We would really appreciate that. Also, you could go over and check out teachhoops.com. You could make a commitment to yourself. Unlike a lot of the resources that are out there, and there are a lot of good ones, this is not a stagnant, sit and leave it alone. I am always in the community. I'm always answering questions. I am there to help. I have been successful at the highest level you can be at the high school level, play at the collegiate level, coach at the youth level. I know what you're going through. I know what that irate parent's going to say. I know how you can get that kid to get the 50-50 ball. So go over and check it out and let us know what you think. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
A couple things. I go back, edit it, and say, oh, yeah, I should have added that in. Good point. So I think that's important to do. I think you have to have that. I think it has to be right. And then I show it to the players. Like when I get there, I post it so they see it, what's going to go on today. So I put it up in the locker room when we get there so they can see what that kind of the practice is.
And is there a specific time that you do it? Especially now being a high school coach, do you?
Yeah. We usually have practices our kids go to school until 2:50. And then they take a bus over to we have a $10 million practice facility. It's really nice. 3 courts, beautiful. It's a Beckerman Center. Dave Beckerman, who started the Starter Corporation of the basket, the jacket starter.
Yep.
He had a lot of money. He used to be the coach here for 20 years. And he built this facility called the Beckerman Center. So the kids leave the school 2:50 and they come over to the Beckerman Center. And then I do study hall from 3 to 4. And I just have them stay in a room and, kind of like the lunchroom there, and they just do some study hall. But then that's why I show the practice plan to have it up, and then we go on the court every day from 4 to 6.
Okay.
So 4 to 6 is that time, and that gives the time for the teachers who teach, my coach assistants, to get there and
that's the hard part. I know. And then do you do your practice plan for the next day that night, or do you wait till the
No, I kind of do it the next morning and talk about it. Then I send it to them an email and they email me back. Or sometimes I'll do it at night. Depends on how it really goes.
I used to do it at night, but I like to dwell on it. I think I dream about it, to be honest with you. I mean, because it's that didn't go well. And do you tape your practices?
I started doing that, but then I realized, to be honest with you, I'm the only one watching them and like going over it. And I'm like, because it used to be like in college, like, you know, we have the other assistants, the kids, the players. And the high school level is like,
it's me.
I'm like,
it's the
I'm wasting
exact
more
same,
time
Coach.
again. I'm like, and to get managers to help out to do it like that, I'd rather have the manager running the clock than running the film up top. And, you know, so it's kind of like I got away from it. I did start doing that, but you got to
get one of the automated recorder things like VO.
Yeah, I know. Those are expensive.
They are expensive.
That.
Yeah, and they just
do that?
I do. We just got one about a year or two ago. And it's really nice. It's like, and the thing is, what I'll do is I won't watch the whole practice, but it's like I'll be home, I'll eat dinner, and then I'll start thinking about like, oh crud, we didn't do that very well. So I'll go back and watch that drill. It'll be me, and you're right. It's 97% probably me and one of my assistants, but I just like it from that standpoint. Or, oh wow, we did really well. Remember that one thing we were working on? Let's go back and look at that. What was that doing? That's where it's nice to have it. It's not like I'm throwing the ball or kicking anything at him. There's nothing on there that's going to get me in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I have all my practices open to my parents. I encourage every parent to come to every practice.
And where do your kids tend to be local?
Yeah, they're all within a half an hour distance because it's a day school only. They don't have no.
Okay.
Okay. You know, so it's all, you know, there's no overnight kids, so it's all commuting. So
it's all
parents coming to pick them up. And I just always thought, like, a parent's there, like, why are they sitting in the car waiting? I said, please just come in and watch the last half an hour. If I want to watch my kid play ball for a little while. So I have my kids' parents come in all the time and sit in stands. I just tell them, make sure they don't go crazy, you know, and be loud. You know?
Don't yell at them. Yeah.
Okay,
but, let's keep going.
Then I talk about like making sure my staff all have a firm understanding of the plays and the drills that we're going to cover. I think that's important. Like a lot of times I shouldn't be the only one who knows what the drill is about. So that's why I send it to the coaches early and say, hey, if you don't know the drill, let me know and we'll go over it.
Right.
I don't want, when you come in early, like we'll talk about it during study hall so you kind of understand. Because I might like have to do something, they have to run it. I don't want to be embarrassed by, my staff not knowing.
Right.
And it shows that everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
I think that's important. I think the warm-ups are important. Like nowadays, the kids, back in our day, used to be right over left, arm across. All right, let's go, play ball.
Right.
Today, I think you got to give the kids a little bit more dynamic warm-up. They used to like some plyometrics, some having a routine. And that's one thing we did when I was at the end of my years at Quinnipiac. We had the Navy SEALs come in and do a SEAL training program.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was a 3-day program. And I'll tell you, it was unbelievable accountability and leadership. And if anybody could have a chance to have a part of that or watch that on film or whatever, you really should. Because if you're a coach, they just talk about leadership and the dynamics of it. And one of their big things was the warm up and how they have one leader and he would, he'd say, all right, knees to chest, to half court and back, ready. And then the whole group in a line would have to say ready. And then he'd say attack. And then they'd say attack. And it looked just so good. They were all on the same page. The leader stepped up, told them what the drill was. They all went out and they went to half court and they came back. And then the leader get up and he'd say, all right, next one, butt kicks. Ready, and they all yell ready. And if you as a coach, you got to, if the one kid wasn't saying ready, you went down there and you ripped into him because you got to be part of the group,
right?
And you're following the leader, and I was all about that. And I'll tell you, like the kids loved it. As I said, like they did this 8-minute dynamic warm ups, like play, all the different ones, and it was great. I think the kids really enjoyed it. So I think that's important. And I said, I think running the clock is important. If you have a clock in your gym, you should have that and keep the drills short. Like too many coaches, I go watch a lot of practices and they'll be like, all right, 9 minutes of this. And the kids are like, after minute 2, they're like, done.
No. So here's what I tell people when I go out and talk too. It's like, we live in a Snapchat world, people. TikToks, the longest a TikTok is a minute. And most of them are 15 seconds. So if you think you're keeping their attention for 9 to 10 minutes, you're not.
That's all that UB Brown practice stuff. I love watching. I watched UB Brown a couple times. Anybody get a chance to watch UB Brown on talking about practice? He is phenomenal. Like I'm talking like off the charts. Like he says, make sure you come in with a cue card. Make sure every drill is 3 to 5 minutes. He's right. He's right on point.
I love that. I do. Hubie's got some great stuff. I agree.
Oh my God, he's like, man, talking about a genius of basketball back in the day. And then, obviously I think you have your practices start early, like longer early in the year, and then taper them down to make sure to taper it down.
Yep.
And then,
you're down to an hour 15 and is that total an hour 15?
At the
and
very
is it counting
end,
film?
That is when they came in, and, at the end of my practice, late February, because, I hate to say it, but I'd only play probably 8-9 guys. I didn't want to get them hurt. So
Right.
I thought an hour and 15 minutes was good enough. And we,
Okay.
we keep it simple, and we go through it. And, I started early on. It would be 2.5 hours, but then by the end, it's an hour and 15. And I'll tell you right now, when I was at Quinnipiac, same thing, hour and 15, hour and a half at the most in late February. At Holy Cross, Ralph Willard, hour and 15, hour and a half. So a lot of Division I guys doing the same thing. They taper it down. It was 3 hours to start, and by the end, they were doing an hour 15, an hour and a half.
I love that. I do that too. I love that.
Yeah. And I think that, you got to know that practice is where you create your winning culture. So I think you have to have accountability for all segments, winners and losers. As much as you can do winners, kids love that. I mean, I don't care what drill you're doing. If you can get a winners and losers, kids love busting on their teammates. That was the fun part of when I played. Yeah, get on the line. You know what I mean? Leaders got you. And then,
it doesn't matter from someone that's done this a long time. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
No, it really doesn't.
It doesn't matter. And the thing is, sometimes it depends on the part of the season too. Early in the season, you might run. Late in the season, you might do 5 burpees.
Exactly.
I'll do if they're doing a contest versus another player, I'll say you have to do 5 burpees. And you have to say 3 nice things about the person you beat. Or beat, that lost to, and it's like, you have nice hair, whatever. But it's just they'll laugh and then they're doing it, but they don't want to do that.
Right.
So it's kind of the losing thing.
Yeah. I tell you, so I think that's a huge thing. And I think pushing your effort stats, I'm a big believer. When we were at Holy Cross, we did this thing called effort stats. I could show you.
So you talked about that before we came on the air. Give me some examples of effort stats.
Let me see if I can pull it up right.
Okay.
I have them right. Yeah, let me see. Can you?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So now, what we would do is, when I was at Holy Cross, one of the big things, the effort stats were huge, and we would break down a game film at the end of the game. So what we do is we take this right here, this form, and it would say, all right, we'd watch the first segment of the game, first play of the game, and I'd be like, okay, here we go. First shot goes up. Stop. Pause. Did Gio block out? No, Gio didn't block out. He got a 0. All right. Did Danny block out? He did. Rewind it. Wait a minute. Yeah, he did. He checked the kid. He got him. He got a 1. All the way down to the 5 guys in the game. If they had a chance to block out, did they or didn't they? And then it would be a 0-1. And then you go to the next possession where there was a ball loose or a ball got away. That's a ball pursuit. If you ever saw that while you're breaking down the film and you saw a ball being loose or whatever, did your guy pursue it? Or did he kind of just let someone else go get it?
And how many of those how many ball pursuits do you see in a game?
That, I'll tell you, when you start looking for them, there's a lot more than you can, because you could just say to a kid, you could have went for that, but you didn't. And no one else would pick up on it. But when you're watching it in film, you see 2 guys standing beside each other, and then one kid reacted to it, and the other kid kind of just stood. And, and then when he saw the other kid went for it, he just kind of got in the defensive stance. So that would be a 0 for ball pursuit.
I think that's a huge. I've heard of some of these. That's a huge. I think if you do that early in the season, that can be the difference between winning and losing.
Without a doubt, that's that's diving on loose balls,
right?
Ball pursuits, all of that. And then the shot contest, we talked about, Ralph did this study when he was with Rick in the NBA about ball side shot contest. He used to talk about a shot contest in the middle of the face. It doesn't really affect the shot as much. But when you do a ball side shot contest, right where the shooter's hand is and going on the ball side, the kid has to usually move his hand just a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. And that affects his shooting percentage at least 10%.
So are you talking same side hand?
Same side hand.
Because I'm telling you, I just read an article, I don't know, somewhere halfway through if it's a right-handed shooter and you close out with your left hand, it drops 15%. It's crazy. It is something in the last couple of years we've really started to work on. The stats doesn't lie about it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, ball side. Just making sure, my thing was just making sure he's on the ball side. Whatever hand you get up there, just get it on that ball side. So the kid has to think about moving the ball a little bit and angling his arms a little. So we used to chart that 0-1, 0-1. And I'll tell you, that would even get kids who normally just, there's a lot of kids who just run out there and close out, don't even put their hand up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you charted that, and then you see at the end what happens. And then the only thing you do on the offensive end is offensive rebounding attempts. So like when we go now to the offensive side, I'd be like, all right, don't worry about whatever. When the shot goes up, did you go? Did Gio go for an offensive rebound? Did Danny go for an offensive rebound? And if one of them had defensive responsibility, like the top guy getting back, did he get back? Did he say, I got back? If he didn't, he got a 0. If he did, he gets a 1.
Because you don't necessarily want to crash 5 at all times.
No, we always crash 4.
Okay.
And that when we were when I was at Quinnipiac, we crashed 4. And I'll tell you right now, we were the number 1 rebounding team in the country in 2013 and 14, and we were number 1 offensive rebounding team in the country for 7 straight years at Quinnipiac over Duke, Kentucky, Michigan. I mean, it's unbelievable
because you're charting it. Whatever you chart, they're going to do. Whatever you
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we did charges, and obviously, if you had a chance to take it, you didn't. If you did it, you got 1.
Yep.
Deflections were always huge. We try to get 40 or higher deflections.
And you don't do 0s for deflections. You just do 1.
No. Just if you got 1. Because it's tough to do a 0. So just deflections. And we always say, but 40 is our number you have to reach. If you don't get 40, we run. You know what I mean? So, like, kids with hands – and Ralph was always about keeping your hands up. He said hands down, like you don't get a chance to get a ball deflection. And
hands down, man down, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that. So I was I'm a big believer in the hands up on deflections. And then closeouts and rotations, I added in. We didn't chart that when I was Holy Cross, but I added that when I was at Salem State because
And what do you mean by closeout rotations? Whether the ball gets skipped and you can get a closeout?
Yeah, like you can tell in a defensive possession, like when a ball gets skipped, did your man do a horrible closeout? You know what I mean? Did he just sprint out there, the kid blew by him?
Right.
All right, well, that's a 0. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if he shuffled his feet, he controlled the guy, and he still got beat, I'd give him a 1 because he did a good closeout, but the kid scored.
That's a hard thing for a high school kid to do effectively is that second rotate. It's the burn by is like, oh my God. It's like, exactly. They have I don't know if it's because of like newborn giraffe and they don't know how their bodies work, but geez, it's like you're running out there like your house is on fire. They're going to go around you. Like,
exactly. And then we do the rotations where we're basically, if you're 2 passes away, where are you at the dotted line? The old, in the center line, like hand on the line, seeing both mall and man, and that's a 0-1. So, but, then we put all this together. And at the end, like, I'm looking at it like Gio, I did one for Gio. He was 23 for 39. He had 58%. And our goal is if you're 70 or below, you run a sprint in practice to start the practice below 70%.
Okay.
So right now, Gio would start practice with 12 sprints. You know what I mean? So he'd go and he'd see his effort stats and he'd be like, I got to go do 12 sprints timed. They all have to be timed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, he would do it. So now he's pissed off because he's like, man, I got below 70. Like, you know what I mean? And then at the end, if we didn't get 40 deflections as a team, we'd have to run as a team for those 40 deflections.
And what percentage of those players usually got above 70? And do you do 70 for your high school kids?
No, I do 60 for my high school kids.
Okay.
To be honest with you, and I don't as much. I haven't because it's a little bit harder with the high school kids to hold them as much accountable in this. I show them this, but we don't run as much. If something was blatant and early on, I do, but I didn't do this as much the whole year.
Okay.
Because it's a different, the prep school level. It's just a different.
Well, and this would be a hard thing to do for every game, but you could do it early. I mean, we did
it early on. I do it my first 5 games.
That would be my advice to coaches that are listening. Cause I'll try to get a copy of this, but that would be my advice is do it early. You set the tone early because,
I'll tell you right now, we did this at Holy Cross. This is no lie. It was the second game or third game of the year. And the kids at the end, you had to be above 70%, all that. We came in and coach read these effort stats off, and we lost the game by about 15. And he said, okay, everybody come on to get on the line. We were down in the recreational facility because of the main play. I'll never forget it. We had to do 138 sprints as a team. 138 sprints. And I'm telling you right now, they were all timed. And if you didn't make it, we went again. It was like,
hey, Coach, hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe and leave a written review. We love those written reviews a lot. Also, I would ask that you work on your craft, just like we ask our players to work on their craft. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. And then if you're going to do any shopping, Click that Amazon link down below. Use that, bookmark that. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.